and welcome to the Season 2 finale. Today, we travel to the vibrant and enchanting city of Lisbon, where history meets modernity, and every corner holds a story waiting to be discovered. Join us on our journey through the heart of Portugal's capital city, as we explore its size, geography, history, economy, tourism, food, and culture in this special season finale. Our tour starts here, one of Lisbon's most beloved landmarks. The Belém Tower stands proudly at the mouth of the Tagus River, welcoming visitors to the city with its graceful silhouette and storied past. Nestled along the banks of the Tagus River, amidst the bustling cityscape of Lisbon, stands the monument Garcutine at Sacadura Cabral, a tribute to two pioneers who made history with their daring transatlantic flight. The monument honors the achievements of the two aviators, who, in 1922, embarked on an audacious journey to become the first pilots to cross the South Atlantic Ocean by air, from Lisbon to Rio de Janeiro. Now let us focus on the tower itself, located a few meters from the monument. Built in the early 16th century during the Age of Discovery, the Belém Tower served as a symbol of Portugal's maritime power and played a crucial role in protecting the city from seafaring invaders. In its heyday, the tower witnessed the departure of legendary explorers such as Vasco da Gama, who set sail from Lisbon in search of new trade routes to the East Indies. Today, the Belém Tower stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a testament to Portugal's rich maritime history. The architecture of the Belém Tower is a stunning example of Manueline style, a uniquely Portuguese architectural style that flourished during the Age of Discovery in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. This style is characterized by lavish decorative motifs inspired by maritime themes, natural elements, and religious symbolism. Delicate lace-like stone carvings adorn the tower's facade, featuring motifs such as ropes, knots, shells, and maritime creatures like sea monsters and mythical beasts. Visitors can explore its intricate Manueline architecture, climb to the top for breathtaking views of the river and city skyline, and imagine themselves as intrepid adventurers setting off into the unknown. As a defensive fortification, the Belém Tower incorporates architectural elements designed for military purposes. These include battlements, arrow slits, and bartizans, which are small turrets that provided strategic vantage points for archers to defend against potential attackers. Given its role as a symbol of Portugal's maritime prowess, the Belém Tower's architecture is replete with nautical symbolism. This is evident in features such as the tower's shape, which resembles the bow of a ship, as well as the sculpted figures of navigators, sailors, and other maritime motifs that adorn its exterior. Located adjacent to the tower are the gardens, with lush greenery, well-maintained lawns, colorful flower beds, and shady trees that provide respite from the sun on hot days. Leaving the tower, we drove right into the city center, where traffic made us abandon the car, and opt to continue the rest on foot. We found a parking lot near Martin Muniz Square, which is located in the heart of Lisbon, just a short distance from downtown. The square is named after Dom Martin Muniz, a legendary figure in Portuguese history known for his bravery during the reconquest of Lisbon from the Moors in the 12th century. His heroic act of sacrificing himself by wedging his body in a doorway to prevent it from closing allowed Christian forces to breach the city walls, ultimately leading to the recapture of Lisbon. The square is a hub of activity throughout the day and into the night, with street performers, live music, and cultural events adding to its festive ambience. It has just stopped raining, making the weather perfect for a stroll around Lisbon. Very quickly the grey sky made way to more and more blue patches, and even flocks of birds flew around us, as a sign of welcome. From there, we were going to make our way towards the St. George's Castle. Nestled along the sparkling waters of the Tagus River, Lisbon stretches across 7 picturesque hills, each offering panoramic views of the cityscape below. For us, it means that we were going to have to walk up and down slopes, if we wanted to really visit the city. So here we go, uphill first. We were walking along this narrow road, shared by pedestrians, trams, as well as vehicles. Both sides of this quaint alleyway was dotted with charming residential buildings, which looked more like historic structures that contributed to the character of the old city center. These buildings featured colorful facades, with wrought iron balconies. We had barely done a few hundred meters that I was starting to feel hungry. After all, I did not have breakfast this morning and my body was refusing to move without food. And to make matters worse, the slope was getting steeper now, the alleyway was becoming narrower, with larger crowds, and the weather was getting hotter. So we definitely needed to stop somewhere soon, to refuel. And we did. Along the way, we came across this charming cafe, where we enjoyed a delicious coffee, accompanied by a sumptuous breakfast. My husband had some ham and cheese toasts while I feasted on some freshly made pancakes, topped with berries and bananas. If you are not keen to walk like us, you can take the hop-on, hop-off bus, just like this one. After breakfast, we continued our way towards the castle, still walking uphill. By now, the sun was out, and so was the crowd. We were now in the historic Alfama neighborhood, one of the oldest and most charming districts in the city. These narrow streets wind their way up the hill towards the castle, offering visitors a glimpse into Lisbon's rich history and traditional way of life. Most of the alleys are characterized by their cobblestone paths, colorful buildings adorned with laundry hanging from windows, and quaint cafes and shops tucked into corners. Walking through these alleys, we felt like they've stepped back in time, as the area has retained much of its medieval charm despite being situated in the heart of a modern city. As we got nearer to the castle itself, the alleys were adorned with walls full of graffitis, street arts, and other slogans. The path was not even more steep, and the crowd was even larger. We slowly made our way up, through the narrow path. Soon, it went through a small tunnel, and at this point, we were just following the direction of the crowd. Along the way, we also encountered locals going about their daily routines, hear the sounds of traditional Fado music drifting out from windows, and stumbled upon hidden viewpoints offering stunning vistas of the city below. On the right side of the street, we could now see the very high walls, probably those of the castle. These walls were originally built during the Moorish occupation of Lisbon in the 11th century and were later expanded and reinforced during the Christian reconquest of the city. The castle walls served both defensive and symbolic purposes, offering protection to the inhabitants of the castle while also asserting the power and authority of the ruling monarch. The walls are made of stone and feature battlements, towers, and ramparts that provide strategic vantage points for defenders. St. George Castle actually sits atop the highest hill in the city and offers commanding views of Lisbon and the Tagus River. The castle's history dates back to the Moorish rule of Lisbon in the 11th century. It was originally built by the Moors as a defensive fortification, known as the Moorish Castle, to protect the city and its inhabitants. In 1147, Lisbon was conquered by Christian forces during the Reconquista, a period of Christian expansion and reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula. The castle was captured from the Moors by forces led by King Afonso I of Portugal. Following the conquest, the castle underwent significant renovations and became a royal residence for Portuguese monarchs. Today it is a popular tourist destination, and you have seen just how long the queue is to buy tickets to visit the castle. The castle served as a royal residence for several centuries, with successive kings making modifications and additions to the fortress. Like much of Lisbon, the castle was severely damaged during the earthquake of 1755. After the earthquake, the castle fell into a state of disrepair and was largely abandoned. The architecture in the area reflects a mix of styles, including Moorish influences from the medieval period and later Portuguese styles. The alleys were tiny, and when you factor in the crowd, it was almost impossible to move around these alleys without bumping other people. So we decided to leave the area and walk towards the direction of the port. Luckily, this meant going downhill again, thus it was an easy walk. We turned and followed the road to the Church of Santa Luzia. Also located in the Alfama neighborhood of Lisbon, the Church of Santa Luzia is known for its beautiful traditional Portuguese tiles and stunning views of Alfama and the Tagus River. The church was built in the early 20th century in a neo-Romanesque style and is dedicated to Saint Lucy, the patron saint of sight. Adjacent to the church is a terrace, or observation deck, which offers breathtaking views of Alfama. This observation deck is a popular spot for visitors to take in the scenery and capture photos of Lisbon's iconic skyline. We stopped there to admire the scenery, to take some photos and to find our bearings. Lisbon is a big city. From up here, we could really appreciate views and the sheer size of the neighborhood all around us. The Church of Santa Luzia and its observation deck are easily accessible by foot or public transportation. Visitors can reach Alfama by tram, bus, or on foot from nearby neighborhoods. From high up, we could see as far as the port, with two large cruise ships anchored at port. We could also see clearly the orange-colored rooftops of buildings as well as the circular domes of more prominent landmarks of the city. The area is also a short walk from St. George Castle, making it a convenient stop for those exploring Lisbon's historic sites. At this point of our tour, it is perhaps a good time to tell you a little bit about the history of Lisbon. The area around present-day Lisbon has been inhabited since ancient times. Phoenician traders established a settlement in the region around 1200 BC, followed by the Celts and then the Romans, who called the city Olisipo. Lisbon became an important Roman city known as Felicitas Julia Olisipo, and thrived as a center of trade and commerce. The Romans built roads, bridges, and aqueducts, leaving a lasting architectural legacy. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, Lisbon came under Visigothic rule in the 5th century AD. In the 8th century, the Moors invaded the Iberian Peninsula and established Islamic rule over Lisbon, which they called Al-Ashbuna. Under Moorish rule, the city flourished as a center of learning and trade. We were still near the Church of Santa Luzia, and next to the area surrounding the terrace are landscaped gardens, seating areas, and decorative tilework. It was a perfect spot to relax and enjoy the views while taking in the tranquil atmosphere of this elevated vantage point. In 1147, Lisbon was conquered by Christian forces during the Reconquista, a period of Christian reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula from Muslim rule. The city was taken by forces led by King Afonso I of Portugal, marking the beginning of Portugal as a nation-state. Lisbon experienced a period of great prosperity and growth during the Age of Discovery in the 15th and 16th centuries. The city became a hub for exploration, trade, and commerce, with Portuguese explorers venturing to Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Lisbon's port played a central role in the global trade network established during this time. Leaving the church, we continued our way downhill, along the cobbled street road. This is the episode finale, marking the end of Season 2 and at the same time, the end of our grand tour of Portugal. We still have a lot to show you during this episode, but before that, kindly do subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell if you have not done so yet. In our next season, which will debut in March, we will start our grand tour of Spain. So if you do not want to miss any of it, kindly do subscribe. In Lisbon, one of the things that you need to do is to ride the famous tram, Route 28, which is renowned for its scenic route through some of the city's most historic and picturesque neighborhoods. Tram 28 is typically operated by vintage yellow trams, some of which date back to the 1930s. These iconic trams are a beloved symbol of Lisbon and provide a nostalgic and authentic travel experience for both locals and tourists. Tram 28 is a popular tourist attraction, so it can get quite crowded, especially during peak hours. It's advisable to board the tram early in the morning or later in the afternoon to avoid long lines and overcrowding. Additionally, be mindful of pickpockets, particularly in crowded areas. We were now reaching another important landmark of Lisbon. Lisbon Cathedral is one of the oldest churches of the city, and it dates back to the 12th century when it was constructed shortly after the city's reconquest from the Moors by King Afonso I of Portugal. It was built on the site of an old mosque, reflecting the transition from Moorish to Christian rule in Lisbon. Over the centuries, the cathedral underwent several renovations and expansions, incorporating various architectural styles, including Romanesque, Gothic, and Baroque. Lisbon Cathedral features a blend of architectural styles, with the exterior predominantly Romanesque and the interior showcasing elements of Gothic and Baroque design. The facade of the cathedral is characterized by its imposing towers, rose window, and decorative carvings. Inside, visitors can admire the intricate vaulted ceilings, ornate altars, and beautiful stained glass windows. The cathedral houses several chapels dedicated to different saints and religious figures, each adorned with exquisite artwork and religious artifacts. The treasury of the Lisbon Cathedral contains a valuable collection of religious relics, including precious metals, jewelry, and sacred vessels. As the oldest and most important church in Lisbon, the cathedral holds significant religious importance for the local community. It serves as the seat of the Patriarch of Lisbon and is a place of worship and pilgrimage for Catholics in the region. A few steps away from the Lisbon Cathedral is yet another important landmark in Lisbon. The Church of Saint Anthony of Lisbon, commonly known as the Santo Antonio Church, is a Roman Catholic church. It is dedicated to Saint Anthony of Padua, one of the most venerated saints in the Catholic Church and the patron saint of Lisbon. The church was built on the site of Saint Anthony's birthplace in Lisbon. Saint Anthony was born in 1195 in what was then the outskirts of Lisbon. The exact year of the church's construction is uncertain, but it is believed to have been built in the 13th century shortly after Saint Anthony's canonization. The interior of the Church of Saint Anthony is a beautiful example of Baroque architecture adorned with artistic and religious treasures. The focal point of the interior is the ornate Baroque altarpiece dedicated to Saint Anthony. This altarpiece, typically located behind the main altar, features intricate carvings, gilded decorations, and religious paintings depicting scenes from the life of the saint. The altarpiece serves as a visual centerpiece for worship and devotion. The church houses relics of Saint Anthony, including a fragment of his cheekbone, which are displayed in a reliquary for veneration by pilgrims and visitors. Throughout the church, visitors will find several chapels and side altars dedicated to various saints and religious figures. Leaving the church, we continued our walk, still downhill. In fact, we have been walking downhill since we left the St. George's Castle. One important event in Lisbon history took place in 1755, when the city was devastated by a massive earthquake, followed by a tsunami and fires that destroyed much of the city. The earthquake, known as the Great Lisbon Earthquake, had a profound impact on Lisbon's architecture, urban planning, and society. The city was subsequently rebuilt in the neoclassical style, with wide boulevards and squares. Lisbon continued to evolve and modernize in the 19th and 20th centuries, undergoing periods of political upheaval, economic growth, and cultural transformation. In 1910, Portugal became a republic, leading to significant changes in the country's governance and society. Lisbon emerged as a cosmopolitan capital, known for its cultural diversity, vibrant nightlife, and thriving arts scene. We were now near the port, near a prominent thoroughfare, known as Avenida Infante Dom Henrique. It runs along the waterfront of the Tagus River and is located in the historic district of Alfama, as well as the district of Bairro, which is known for its grand squares and historic buildings. As it is located near the port area, Avenida Infante Dom Henrique is a hub of port-related activities, including cargo shipping, cruise ship arrivals, and ferry services to nearby destinations such as Almada. Let us take a walk nearer to the port area, and enjoy the change of scenery from the historic town. The avenue is also home to a variety of restaurants, bars, and waterfront cafes where visitors can enjoy local cuisine and drinks while taking in views of the river and port activities. While Avenida Infante Dom Henrique itself may not have as many landmarks or attractions as other parts of Lisbon, it provides convenient access to several notable sites nearby. These include the Lisbon Cruise Terminal, the Santa Apollonia train station, and the Fado Museum, which celebrates Portugal's traditional music genre. We were now approaching the Lisbon Cruise Terminal. It is a major hub for cruise ships visiting Lisbon. Located along the waterfront, the cruise terminal serves as a gateway for tourists arriving in Lisbon by sea. It has become a popular destination for cruise ships navigating the Mediterranean and Atlantic regions. It serves as a port of call for numerous cruise lines, offering passengers the opportunity to explore Lisbon and its surrounding areas during their shore excursions. Lisbon, the capital city of Portugal, has a land area of approximately 100 square kilometers, and that taking into account only the municipal area of Lisbon proper. The population of Lisbon is estimated to be around 500,000 people within the city limits. However, when considering the broader Lisbon metropolitan area, which includes surrounding municipalities, the population is significantly higher, with over 2.8 million inhabitants. Lisbon is the largest city in Portugal and serves as the political, economic, cultural, and social center of the country. From the port, we turned back into the compact little Alfama district once again. Another thing that you need to do, as a tourist in Lisbon, is to get lost inside this small district, as you delve into the network of winding narrow streets and alleys, and discover what Lisbon is really all about. For us, the real reason we walked back into the old city again, was to look for a restaurant, for lunch. At the same time, the sky had turned grey once again, and it felt as if it was going to start raining very soon. In this part of the old city, the alleys were even narrower, with lots of staircases, and for once, the places around us felt quite deserted. It felt like we were truly lost this time. But we were not bothered at all. We walked around, at a slow pace, often stopping along our way, to take some photographs, or to simply enjoy the little corners of this old part of town. For once, we had the entire place just to ourselves. It was like stepping back in time to medieval Lisbon. The district's narrow alleys and cobblestone streets evoked a sense of history and nostalgia, offering a glimpse into the city's past. Alfama is the birthplace of Fado, Portugal's soulful music genre. As we wandered through Alfama's labyrinthine streets, we also heard the strains of Fado music drifting from local taverns and restaurants, or just some unmarked window. The old district is full of hidden gems waiting to be discovered. From hidden courtyards to tucked-away squares, there's always something new to stumble upon as you explore the district's maze-like streets. And as you can see, it has started to rain. Luckily we had our umbrellas, so we could continue to explore. We mentioned Fado earlier. On this wall is a poster of Fado music. The exact origins of Fado are uncertain, but it is believed to have emerged in the early 19th century. Fado is characterized by its soulful melodies, mournful lyrics, and expressive vocal delivery. The music is typically accompanied by acoustic instruments such as the Portuguese guitar, classical guitar, and sometimes the double bass. Fado songs often explore themes of love, loss, destiny, and the struggles of everyday life. Alright, since it was still drizzling and since we were both hungry, now was the perfect time to stop somewhere for lunch. And we found a nice little restaurant, and we enjoyed some delicious Portuguese dishes there. While we eat our lunch, kindly do subscribe to our channel, if you have not done so yet. After lunch, we continued our tour of Lisbon. We have reached the halfway mark of this video. At the same time we have also reached one of the most iconic squares of the city. It is known as Praça do Comércio or Commerce Square in English. It sits at the base of the city's main thoroughfare, Rua Augusta, and is easily accessible by public transportation, including metro, tram, and bus. The square was originally built in the 16th century as the site of the royal palace of the Portuguese kings, which was destroyed in the devastating earthquake of 1755. After the earthquake, the square was redesigned and rebuilt as a symbol of Lisbon's recovery and resilience. The entire area is known for its impressive architectural features, especially the Arch of Rua Augusta, a monumental triumphal arch that marks the entrance to the square from Rua Augusta. The square is prominently surrounded by elegant yellow buildings with arcades and balconies, giving it a distinctive and grand appearance. The arch stands at the northern end of the square. It marks the transition from the square to Rua Augusta, a pedestrian street lined with shops, cafes, and theaters. It represents the city's rebirth after the earthquake and serves as a gateway to the heart of Lisbon. In the center of the square stands a statue of King Jose I, which was erected in the 18th century. The statue is flanked by allegorical figures representing prosperity and abundance. Additionally, there are several other statues and monuments in the square commemorating historical figures and events. But the bronze equestrian statue of King Jose I is definitely the most prominent statue in the square. It is surrounded by allegorical figures representing triumph, glory, and abundance. Let us walk around and take a look at the other sculptures and statues located in the square. This one is interesting, but I do not know more about it. Does anyone has any idea about this one? In front of the square is the Columns Wharf. It is actually situated at the southern end of the square, facing the Tagus River. It serves as a symbolic gateway to Lisbon and is one of the most recognizable features of the square. The wharf has a rich history dating back to the 16th century when it served as the primary access point to Lisbon for travelers arriving by sea. It was originally built with 2 marble columns, which gave it its name, and served as a ceremonial entrance to the city for visiting dignitaries and royalty. Since we are here, let me tell you a bit more about the Tagus River. It originates in the central highlands of Spain, flows in a southwest direction across Spain before entering Portugal, and eventually emptying into the Atlantic Ocean near Lisbon. The total length is approximately 1,000 kilometers. Its watershed covers an area of about 80,000 square kilometers, encompassing parts of Spain and Portugal. The river is home to numerous species of fish, including eels, shad, and sturgeon, as well as migratory birds such as herons, ducks, and flamingos. Efforts have been made to preserve and protect the river's natural habitats and biodiversity. From the square, we walked through the arch, in the direction of Rua Augusta. It is one of the most famous and lively streets in Lisbon. It runs parallel to the Tagus River and stretches from the Commerce Square to Rossio Square, 2 of Lisbon's main squares. We will be visiting Rossio Square in the later part of this video. As you can see, it is a bustling pedestrian street lined with shops, restaurants, cafes, and historic buildings. It is also known for its vibrant atmosphere and lively street performers, who entertain passers-by with music, dance, and other artistic performances. The street is flanked by elegant 18th-century buildings with colorful facades, ornate balconies, and decorative tiles. Many of these buildings house shops, boutiques, and businesses. Along the street, there are many restaurants, as well as cafes, with outdoor sitting areas right in the middle of the street. I was more interested in the wide range of stores selling clothing and handicrafts located along the street. My husband, on the other hand, was more keen to visit the pastry shops, in order to sample traditional Portuguese pastries. While my husband is busy with his pastries, let me share some interesting facts about Lisbon. Did you know that Lisbon is one of the oldest cities in Western Europe, predating other major European capitals such as Rome, London, and Paris? Its history spans back over 3,000 years. The Vasco da Gama Bridge in Lisbon is the longest bridge in Europe and one of the longest in the world. Stretching over the Tagus River, it measures approximately 17.2 kilometers in length. And in 2020, Lisbon was awarded the title of European Green Capital by the European Commission in recognition of its commitment to sustainability and environmental initiatives. Lisbon is a paradise for food lovers, offering a diverse culinary scene that celebrates traditional Portuguese cuisine alongside international flavors. From fresh seafood dishes like bacalhau to delicious pastries like pastéis de nata, Lisbon's food scene is a feast for the senses. While we were on the subject of food, there is one more food item that we had to try. In fact, we wanted to try this, since we were in Porto. Talking about Porto, please do catch our special episode where we explored Porto. It's a very long video, and you probably need more than an hour and some nice coffee. Bifanas are a popular Portuguese sandwich made with thinly sliced marinated pork meat typically served in a soft bread roll. And the bifanas do Afonso are considered to be one of the best in Lisbon. Let us give it a try. Bifanas are usually cut from the loin or tenderloin. In the background, you can see the Santa Justa lift. Also known as the Carmo lift, it is an iconic elevator located in the historic center of Lisbon. The lift was inaugurated on July 10, 1902, making it one of the city's earliest public transport systems, allowing people to travel from the lower streets and the higher Largo do Carmo. Standing at a height of 45 meters, the lift boasts an impressive iron structure. Its design draws inspiration from the renowned French architect Gustave Eiffel, known for the Eiffel Tower. To the northeast of the elevator is the famous Bairro market, which has a rich history dating back to the 19th century when it originally opened as a fresh food market. From the market you are able to see the St. George Castle, perched on the highest hills of Lisbon. In recent years, the market has undergone a significant transformation, led by the renowned food and lifestyle magazine, Time Out. This statue pays homage to King John I, who ruled Portugal from 1385 until his death in 1433. He was the founder of the Avhis dynasty and is best known for his role in the battle, which secured Portuguese independence from the Kingdom of Castile. In 2014, Time Out Lisboa partnered with the city of Lisbon to revitalize the market, turning it into a vibrant culinary destination. The market underwent renovations, and it reopened with a new concept that combines traditional market stalls with contemporary food vendors. Today, the Bairro market is a bustling hub of activity, featuring a diverse range of food stalls and eateries offering everything from traditional Portuguese cuisine to international delicacies. Visitors can sample a wide array of dishes, including fresh seafood, charcuterie, cheeses, pastries, and more. One of the highlights of the Bairro market is its spacious dining area, where visitors can enjoy their meals in a lively and convivial atmosphere. The market's communal tables foster a sense of community and encourage interaction among patrons. Additionally, the market's central location makes it easily accessible to visitors exploring the historic center of Lisbon. This stall selling nuggets and other sweets caught our attention. It carried a very wide variety of colorful and delicious-looking sweets. We had to try some of them. The market also hosts events, cooking workshops, and live entertainment, making it a popular destination for both locals and tourists alike. We walked around, taking our time to explore and to discover the unique tastes of Portugal. One thing that we also tried at Bairro Market, for the first time, was mead. It is actually an alcoholic beverage that is made by fermenting honey with water, and sometimes with additional ingredients such as fruits, spices, grains, or hops. It is often referred to as honey wine due to its production process and flavor profile. Mead is one of the oldest known alcoholic beverages, with a history that dates back thousands of years. It has been consumed by various cultures around the world, including ancient civilizations such as the Greeks, Romans, Vikings, and Celts. Just a few steps west of the market was another famous square in Lisbon. We have mentioned it earlier in this video. It is called Rossio Square. Let us take a short walk there, and I'll tell you more about it. Rossio Square, officially known as Praça Dom Pedro IV, has been a central gathering place for centuries and holds historical, cultural, and architectural significance. It is easily accessible and serves as a central point for exploring the city. The square has a rich history dating back to medieval times when it was a bustling marketplace and the site of popular festivals, bullfights, and executions. Over the years, it has been the stage for many important events in Lisbon's history. The King Pedro IV monument is a prominent feature of the square. The monument consists of a majestic bronze statue of King Pedro IV, mounted on a pedestal made of marble. The king is depicted in regal attire, standing tall with one arm raised, holding a constitution, while his other hand rests on his hip. The Rossio fountains, a pair of fountains, also located in the square, feature elegant Baroque-style designs, characterized by ornate sculptural elements and intricate detailing. The north fountain consists of a central pedestal adorned with sculptures of mythological figures and allegorical representations, including Neptune, the Roman god of the sea, and several nymphs. The south fountain, also featuring an elaborate Baroque-style design, consists of a central pedestal adorned with sculptural figures and decorative motifs, including cherubs, dolphins, and other mythological creatures. In the background, you are able to spot the Carmo convent, with its Gothic architecture. It houses the Carmo Archaeological Museum, which showcases a diverse collection of artifacts spanning various periods of Portuguese history. The museum's exhibits include ancient ceramics, sculptures, tombstones, and other archaeological finds. On the opposite side of the square, in the background, the building you see, is the National Theatre Dona Maria II. It is one of Portugal's most prominent and historic theatres, and was inaugurated on April 13, 1846, and named in honour of Queen Maria II of Portugal. Its construction was commissioned by Queen Maria II herself, with the aim of providing a venue for Portuguese-language theatre productions. Throughout its history, the Dona Maria II Theatre has played a vital role in promoting Portuguese culture and performing arts. It showcases a diverse repertoire of theatre productions, including classical plays, contemporary works, and experimental performances. The theatre also hosts dance recitals, music concerts, and other cultural events. The theatre is home to the National Theatre Company, which is responsible for producing and staging many of the productions performed at the theatre. The theatre is also managed by the Portuguese Ministry of Culture. Nearby the square, on the west side of the theatre, is located the Rossio Station, a historic railway, which was originally inaugurated in 1891 as the central station. Rossio Station is renowned for its distinctive architectural style, which blends neo-Manueline, Romantic, and Moorish influences. And on the right side of the theatre is the Palace of Independence, another historic building, due to its association with Portugal's Declaration of Independence. This is the monastery of Saint Dominic. Near it is a monument dedicated to the Jews massacred in mid-1500s. We took the small alley next to the monastery and made our way back towards St. Martin's Square. From there, we had another great view of the St. George Castle, and of the buildings surrounding it. We had already featured St. Martin's Square right at the beginning of this video. There is still a lot to see in Lisbon, however, we were tired of walking. We decided to visit other landmarks nearby, accessible by car. And this is the first one of them. It is called the Royal Basilica and Convent of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, or more simply as the Basilica da Estrela. Located less than 15 minutes drive from St. Martin's Square, this basilica stands as one of the most remarkable religious buildings in the city. It was commissioned by Queen Maria I of Portugal in the late 18th century as a fulfillment of a vow she made to build a church if she bore a son and heir to the throne. The basilica was intended to be a symbol of gratitude and devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and was dedicated to the Virgin Mary. One of the most striking features of the basilica is its impressive dome, which reaches a height of over 65 meters. The dome is adorned with a stunning fresco depicting the Assumption of the Virgin Mary into heaven, painted by the Portuguese artist Pedro Alexandrino. Within the basilica, there are several ornate chapels dedicated to various saints and religious figures. One of the most notable is the Chapel of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which contains a magnificent altarpiece adorned with statues and golden decorations. The interior of the basilica is also adorned with marble, gilt woodwork, frescoes, and beautiful stained glass windows. The basilica itself is a masterpiece of neoclassical architecture. It features a grand facade with towering Corinthian columns, a majestic dome that rises above the skyline, and intricate sculptural details throughout its exterior and interior. The basilica is located in the Estrela neighborhood of Lisbon, atop a hill that offers panoramic views of the city. Adjacent to the basilica is the former convent of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, which was originally built to accommodate the Carmelite nuns. Today, the convent houses the Military Academy of Lisbon. Another 15 minutes drive brought us to a magnificent masterpiece, located in the Belém district of Lisbon. But first, this is the Big Raccoon street art by Bordalo, which aims to raise awareness about environmental issues and the impact of human consumption and waste on wildlife. Next to it is the Museum of Contemporary Art, which is also part of the Cultural Centre of Belém. The museum is dedicated to showcasing contemporary art from both Portuguese and international artists. These are all located within a large square known as the Empire Square. It is one of the most significant and visually stunning squares in the city, renowned for its expansive layout, grand monuments, and beautiful landscaping. It is surrounded by several notable landmarks, including the Jerónimos Monastery, the Belém Cultural Centre, and the Belém Palace. The square was built in the early 1940s as part of the urban renewal efforts for the Portuguese World Exhibition, held in 1940. This is the Jerónimos Monastery. It is one of the most iconic and celebrated landmarks in the country. Just next to it is the Maritime Museum. It is dedicated to preserving and showcasing the maritime history and heritage of Portugal, which has a long and storied maritime tradition dating back centuries. Coming back to the Jerónimos Monastery, it was built in the early 16th century, commissioned by King Manuel I of Portugal. It was constructed to commemorate Vasco da Gama's successful voyage to India and to give thanks to the Virgin Mary for the safe return of the explorers. Construction began in 1501 and lasted for several decades, with various architects contributing to its design and construction. In the background is the impressive Monument to the Discoveries. But more about it later on. The monastery is a masterpiece of Manueline architecture, characterized by intricate stonework, elaborate decorations, and maritime motifs. The facade is adorned with ornate carvings depicting nautical elements, religious symbols, and intricate foliage. The interior features a magnificent nave with a ribbed vault ceiling, slender columns, and beautiful stained glass windows. One of the highlights of the Jerónimos Monastery is its breathtaking cloisters, which are considered among the most beautiful in the world. The two-story cloisters feature intricately carved arches, columns, and capitals adorned with maritime motifs, including sea monsters, ropes, and coral. The delicate stone lacework is a testament to the skill and craftsmanship of the artisans who created it. Today, the Jerónimos Monastery is considered one of the most important cultural and historical landmarks in Portugal and is classified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It attracts thousands of visitors each year who come to marvel at its architectural splendor and to learn about Portugal's rich history of exploration and discovery. The Church of Santa Maria de Belém stands near the iconic Jerónimos Monastery and is closely associated with Portugal's Age of Discovery. The church was originally built in the 16th century, around the same time as the nearby Jerónimos Monastery, and was commissioned by King Manuel I to commemorate Vasco da Gama's successful voyage to India. It was constructed in the Manueline architectural style, which is characterized by elaborate decorations and intricate carvings that often incorporate maritime motifs. One notable feature is the southern portal, which is adorned with carvings of the nativity scene and the adoration of the Magi. The Garden of the Empire Square is situated near the Jerónimos Monastery and the Church of Santa Maria de Belém. It covers an area of approximately 25 hectares. It was created to commemorate the 500th anniversary of the death of Prince Henry the Navigator, a key figure in Portugal's Age of Discovery. The garden is characterized by its formal layout and symmetrical design, typical of classical European gardens. It features wide avenues lined with rows of trees, manicured lawns, and ornamental shrubs. In the center of the garden stands a large reflecting pool, surrounded by meticulously trimmed hedges and flower beds. The garden provides a peaceful retreat from the hustle and bustle of the city, offering visitors a serene environment to relax and enjoy nature. It is a popular spot for locals and tourists alike, who come to stroll along its winding paths, admire the views of the Tagus River, and take in the beauty of the surrounding monuments and landmarks. We walked through the garden, towards the underpass that leads to the other side of the road. This underpass allows us to cross the Avenida Brasilia to reach the promenade in front of the Tagus River. Along the promenade is where the Belém Marina is located. The marina offers berthing facilities for both leisure and commercial vessels, including sailboats, yachts, and motorboats. It provides services such as mooring, fueling, and maintenance, catering to the needs of both local boat owners and visiting sailors. The marina area also serves as a departure point for various boat tours and cruises along the Tagus River, providing visitors with an opportunity to explore Lisbon's waterfront from a different perspective. However, we were not there to admire the marina. We were there to admire the monument to the discoveries. This monument stands as a tribute to the Age of Discovery and Portugal's explorers who played pivotal roles in global maritime exploration during the 15th and 16th centuries. It was originally constructed in 1940 for the Portuguese World Exhibition to commemorate the 500th anniversary of the death of Henry the Navigator. Right in front of it stand the compass rose, a navigational instrument used in navigation to indicate the cardinal directions. The compass rose has been used for centuries by sailors, navigators, and cartographers to orient themselves and determine their direction while at sea or on land. The original structure of the monument was made of temporary materials and intended as a temporary exhibit. However, due to its popularity and significance, a permanent version was later erected. At the forefront of the monument is a larger-than-life statue of Henry the Navigator, who is depicted holding a small caravel, symbolizing Portugal's pioneering role in maritime exploration. Behind him are numerous other notable figures from Portugal's Age of Discovery, including explorers, cartographers, missionaries, and monarchs, such as Vasco da Gama, Pedro Cabral, Ferdinand Magellan, and King Manuel I. From the monument, you can also admire the Bridge of Salazar, renamed as Ponte 25 de Abril, after the Carnation Revolution. If you look at it closely, it resembles the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Just a short walk from the monument to the discoveries is the iconic Belém Tower, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which we have already featured earlier in this video. Oh, one last thing, visitors to the monument to the discoveries can ascend to an observation platform at the top of the monument, which offers panoramic views of the surrounding area, including the Tagus River, Belém, and beyond. As we wrap up another incredible season of exploring the vibrant city of Lisbon, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for joining us on this journey. From the charming streets of Alfama to the majestic monuments and squares, Lisbon has captivated us with its beauty, history, and culture. But fear not, dear viewers, because our adventures are far from over. Season 3 is just around the corner, and we can't wait to share even more exciting destinations, hidden gems, and unforgettable experiences with you. Stay tuned for new episodes coming your way in March. To make sure you don't miss out on any of the upcoming adventures, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Until then, happy travels!